All options are on the table, and there they will remain. But President Trump and I and our administration believes the most productive pathway forward is dialogue among the family of nations that can isolate and pressure North Korea into abandoning permanently and dismantling its nuclear weapons program and its ballistic missile program.
All right, you might have caught that, the vice president hinting that there is a diplomatic way to solve this. Whether it directly involves North Korea is anyone's guess here, but trying to get the North Koreans from this talk of an imminent thermonuclear war that could break out any moment if the U.S. continues its provocative actions. That is according to Kim Jong-il, whose biographer, the best one we have to date, is Michael Malice, who says the North Koreans have been acting this way for decades. It kind of runs in the family and runs in the country, and none of that is likely to change right now. Michael, very good to have you.
Thank you, Neil.
What is your sense of the way the North Koreans are responding to this? They continue to do their tests. Some succeed, some don't. But they are threatening, and they are threatening again to continue these every week if need be, just to stick our nose in it. What do you make of that?
Well, North Korea boasts in their propaganda that they regard themselves as an anthill fighting an elephant. So basically, the ants can't kill the elephant, but they can drive it to go where they want. So they play these games where they threaten one week, and then they have what they call crybaby operations the next, asking for aid. So they're very good at being manipulative, and they're brazen in their literature that they are being manipulative. So their whole system is based on what they call military first, sun gun. So they're always going to be militaristic and showing strength, even if they can't back it up.
I'm sure Kim Jong-il has learned, and I'll defer to you, you're the expert on the family, has learned from his father and even his grandfather how to play Washington, whether it's under a Democratic administration or Republican administration, kind of the same results, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Actually, things have changed a little bit recently. The UN has started cracking down, but we're dealing with people who aren't acting with a straight face. For example, when the UN recently condemned them for having concentration camps, their response was, we don't use that term, so we don't have any. So they are not acting fairly. When the UN condemned them for human rights abuses, their response was, for North Korea, human rights means national sovereignty. So when you criticize us as a nation, you're violating our human rights. So they don't play fair, they don't play honestly, and who can hold them accountable? China was the only person who has any kind of influence with them, but they revel in the fact that they, as a small nation, are defying China and the U.S.
All right, so China might have limits what it can do on this? I mean, as like a crazy runaway child or what?
Yeah, China is trying to be a major world power and have some respect, and they don't want to have to be the ones carrying water for this insane regime. Like a famous story in the 70s, they built a 7-story statue of the great leader Kim Il-sung in Pyongyang and plated it in gold, and the Chinese president said, listen, we're communists, maybe that's not what we're about, so they just changed it to bronze. So they regard themselves as a shrimp among whales, that they're the little guy, and that they're the last one standing. The Soviet Union fell, all these other dictatorships fell, except for Cuba. So this, for them, is a great source of pride. So there's a lot of talk off in the media that they're suicidal, but if they're suicidal, they're really bad at it because they've been around for 70 years.
You know, I cannot imagine, even if the Chinese have a little bit more sway in this than you're saying, and I doubt that, I agree with you there, it's not as if China is going to welcome a democratically elected government in North Korea. So what are we left with here?
Well, and China doesn't want 24 million people who have never seen a computer, who don't speak Chinese, crossing the Tumen River and setting up camp in Manchuria, who have no skills, who are also, racist and have been taught to hate the Americans, the Japanese, and the Chinese. So there's no easy answer. It would have to involve China, South Korea, Japan, Russia, and us working together. But at the same time, if you look at Libya and Iraq, when these leaders step down from office, they often are personally killed. So there's a huge incentive for the regime to maintain their grip on power, even for personal reasons.
Real quickly then, if the Chinese can't control them, won't control them, whatever it is, and the Trump administration has made it clear that all options are on the table, presumably even a missile strike.
Right.
Where do you see this going?
This is a battle of chicken. Who's going to back away from the brink first. However, the last time we had a battle of chicken was during the Cuban Missile Crisis, but this time it's the Soviet Union and the U.S. against the little power. Then it was Cuba, now it's North Korea.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. Michael Malice, dear reader, the unauthorized autobiography of Kim Jong-il. You can imagine quite a few people are picking his brain, and for good reason. All right.